Hello, hello, hello. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Are we good?
Good, good.
Why are you so loud? What's up with you? Sometimes, when the energy gotta be up there, right on top. Otherwise, it's like, hello, guys, how are you doing? Everybody good? Are everybody all right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 I switched to this thing in my ears, so can you hear me?
You got a bit of a feedback there.
Ooh, which is
Yeah,
not
you,
good.
you it's kind of like a little bit
All right,
crackling.
all right.
Yeah, so how's your sound, sir? Your sounds okay?
Yeah, mine is okay.
Yeah, perfecto, perfecto. How's your day been? Okay. How's the family been
Yeah,
going?
everyone is good. We
Yeah,
still tired from last weekend, but
come on now.
yeah,
Let's do it
full steam
again.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, started the new job, so it's just courses and onboarding. Yeah, quite busy.
yeah,
Long day on Monday, but yeah, we grateful. Yeah, we got most of those things behind us now.
yeah. So it's kind of like just having to settle in now and make sure that I guess what they're giving you what a few months to, or is it like no, you gotta just get 2 days and then you need to get on with the job kind of thing?
No,
No.
it will take a while, the
Yeah.
onboarding, because yeah, I've I got to go to Australia at some point, either this month or next
Come
month.
on now. Come on now. Is there space?
Um,
There's
yeah,
space,
and
space for a bra
uh,
to jump in.
yeah, now I'll be building a team up. I've already got 8 people in my team, and I'll be
Wow.
working across.
Wow.
Oh, I thought you said you've got 8 people in the suitcase, the space you're taking.
No,
Just kidding.
I think it's more like 8 kilos. Yeah, 8 kilos I'm allowed, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting, uh, and I have to meet all the managers. But I'm going to work on Australian projects
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
from the UK, but covering the Asia Pacific region.
Wow.
Love it, love
Wow.
it.
So
So
it's
my
good.
So,
teams will
so
be
Kendrick,
remote.
Yes, sir.
when is the Australian trip?
I have to give them dates. Yeah, so I have to
Oh,
decide when I go, because
so
their head
so
office is
Kendrick,
there.
you've got a few dates just before you reduce your weight to 1 kilo.
Lord help us,
Yeah.
Jesus. I
And I
like
haven't
that.
seen
I
him
like
running
that.
lately. I haven't seen him running lately.
Sir, let's not go there, please. Let's not go there, bro. That one is very painful. Huh? Yeah, so it's gonna take me a while to get to that 1 kilo because man, that's another level.
Yeah,
But
after
well,
all
let's
that,
welcome it. Yes, sir. Go on.
after all that eating on Saturday, yeah,
Yes,
we need to work hard, all of us. I
I
think
know. I
it's
know.
only Clinton who's okay. I think.
I no, I'm not. I'm not. I've actually joined the gym to try and get rid of my stomach.
Come on now. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
am surprised that my stomach is growing at a faster rate than me.
Yeah. No, I think that's not a good. Don't have a good plan there. I mean, trying to get rid of your stomach is going to cause other problems for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't
Oh
need the
man.
stomach, Clinton. Maybe reduce, yeah, that would work. But get rid of it, yeah,
Th-
that's
th-
going to cause you some issues there.
that's right. That's right. Oh man. But well, gentlemen, thank you so much for jumping on. It's good to have you guys. Thank you so much for taking out the time to come and to come and stretch us because whenever you open your mouth and you kind of like challenge our way of thinking, that's very much appreciated. We've got our brother that has jumped on there on Facebook. Thank you so much, bro. Good to have you, and uh, and thank you for taking out the time to join us. We don't take it for granted. All right, I'm very excited about this evening session because it's we are going to talk about a topic that is very much close to my heart. I'm so sold out to this on this topic because I believe that everything rises and falls on leadership. And what we are going to talk about this evening, because I was kind of like in two minds because Mr. Jordan took this thing to another level, and I was like, all right, so how do we kind of like you know There's a topic that has been suggested. I'm just looking here. I think this is Mr. Ravi. He say it seems tonight's topic is your health is your wealth. Somebody is ready to talk about money. Oh, bro, let me put it. Look. He said that it seems like tonight's topic is your health is your wealth.
I love it.
Yeah, but
I love
yeah, money and your health. There's we gotta cover that. Whenever we need to, maybe just dedicate a whole month to each of those ones there. But tonight we are going to talk about leadership once again, because one of the sessions that really stood out to me is the one where Mr. Jordan was talking about leadership, and he was talking about how we have to have a sense of accountability. And I thought, all right, let's kind of like divert straight back into that one there, and our conversation this evening. I think that will be very productive. Um, uh, I want us to talk about servanthood, which is the heart of leadership.
Mm.
Because as I said, I believe that everything rises and falls on leadership. But the heart of leadership, the thing that the motive behind why we want to lead. Let me just put it like this. If you're a man on here and you're not convinced yet that you've been called to lead, please let's fix that one, because leadership starts by us leading ourselves first, because that means all of us are called to lead. We not label ourselves as leaders because we've got kind of a title or anything like that. No, it's we are called as husbands. We are called, let me first say, as men, we are called to lead ourselves first, and then we are called to lead our families. So just settle that one. You are called to be a leader, because otherwise you are going to exclude yourself from the conversation. And obviously we don't want that. All right. Now I'm gonna highlight a couple of things, and obviously, as the way we usually do it, it's a conversation we're having. um and we just see how things will turn out, and how uh, let me just put out this another comment that came through. You are called. Yeah, that's right. There, you are called. That's right, sir. You are called to be a leader. That's it. And I think the place where we're at is like we have to basically just step into that role. We just have to step into that role, and I think that's where the challenge is lying. All right. Now, the very first part I wanna bring up here is, um, let me just get it out here. Is that we should not rely on our position. Don't rely on your position or your title. And I think that's where the challenge usually comes. When we're looking at stepping into a place of leadership. Imagine you are if you tell yourself, I'm only going to lead my family when they call me leader Kendrick. The kids call you leader Kendrick, and the wife is calling you husband Kendrick. No, leader Kendrick or leader husband, whatever, to identify that you. Imagine if you have to wait for the title first, then which means we will never be able to step into that role where we actually function what we are born to do. Because now, give me 1 second there, guys. My computer just seems to be freezing here. All right, they'll be back. I don't know, what are your guys' thought on that one there? Because I think whether you are in an environment, in a work environment, whether you are looking maybe at church, whether you're looking at maybe within your community, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think when we find ourselves having to step up as leaders without a title, without you being recognized as the one that is leading, I believe sometimes it can be much harder because the way the world operates is kind of like, no, let's see, is your name on the door? If your name is not on the door, you're not the one that will give me instructions, because it is the function that makes us to be able to be, to operate as leaders, and put ourselves in that position where we can say, no, it's not a title, but it's almost like you have to do first. Even you already have to function in that position before you can even be recognized as a person that is leading that specific um, cause or organization or department or whatever you want to call it. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump straight in if that's okay. Yeah, I think the was interesting for me on the weekend. I went to a men's camp, and before we signed up for the camp, we could fill in on a rota based on the timetable where we're going to get involved to clean and get involved with activities to help. So obviously you had a time slot and you had to commit to it, but you had to do it up front.
Yeah.
And once that went in, find the organizer knew what you're going to do, whether you making breakfast or cleaning up after breakfast at 10:30. That was fine. I thought it would just be okay. That's how it's going to work. But on the day, guess what? Not everybody signed up. So there's gaps in the rota of things that are going to be undone. And guess what is done just after we eat or before. Yes, he would put word out if anybody's available to do this task. Can we work together as men? And they did recycling. So at the camp in Thetford, they don't do recycling there. But his idea was, let's do recycling and bring all that recycled goods back to Cambridge where we can recycle it. But he doesn't want to be in charge of putting it in a van and getting the church's van in. So what he did was everybody recycle their own cups and plates and things, and you take it home to your own house and you recycle it in your blue bins and whenever you get home. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic, because he gets rid of the problem. And it's not a huge one because you're just dealing with your own bit of recycled cups and cutlery. But what stood out was the fact that it was last minute decision to make a request, and people had to decide on the spot, are they going to participate or not? So some people don't, others do. But I think what I want to get across is we have to change our position sometimes of what we are busy with in leadership to serving as a leader. And sometimes it has to happen quickly and instantly, so that there's no hesitation or people don't pick up you hesitant to help or get involved with helping and serving. And I think what comes to mind is I think when we study Jesus and his life, washing the disciples' feet, and the decision to do that, coming to earth and living with us as an ordinary human, it must have built that trust and that both leadership and servant mentality to engage the other disciples into, yes, Jesus led them, but he was also serving them.
That's right.
And I think that's the sort of idea we should have. And it was interesting on this camp how much serving was going on, to the point that you didn't feel that it was hard, because everybody's just got stuck in and done it. And it was a really good experience to see so many men serve one another as individuals, one-to-one, in groups and in teams. Yes, we did an obstacle course and several of them, so we were really tired at the end of the 2 days. But the serving mentality and the position to change from leading a team to serving was something that stood out for me.
Awesome. And I think exactly what we're trying to bring across is the fact that if we can change our perspective on what leadership should really look like, it is about serving people. And if you don't need a title to serve people, isn't it? You don't need a title to make somebody else's life better, because it is the very reason why people will allow you and I to influence them, is because they can see that your motives are right, my motives are right. But if they just sense that it's all about you, or it's all about me, then they're going to be very reluctant to um, to be influenced by us. I believe one of the questions people will always ask if they allowing you to influence is, how can you help me? Can you actually make a difference to my life? How can you help me to go a little bit further? And is there something that you can contribute to my life that I can't? It's like what you will add, it will make a difference. That's one of the questions people will ask. Um, Very well said there, sir. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Richie, do you got something to add there? You are muted, sir. You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to use a word. Is it better now than
Yeah, go for it. You're good to go.
Perfect,
Go
thank you. Yeah, I'm going to use a word that we probably have used a million times in our discussions, our sessions, and that word is authenticity. You can't be a leader if you're not prepared for your authentic self to evolve. Sorry, you could tell I'm not accustomed to this sort of thing. Right? Yeah, you need to allow your authentic self to come alive and come out and show up. Otherwise, you are only fooling yourself. You're not a leader. We have a generation now that, to be honest, don't care about titles. Companies, I myself, if I'm looking for a developer or looking for somebody to do some work for me, I don't care if you're certified, that's great. But talk to me about your experience. The minute you open your mouth to talk, or we talk for at least 5 minutes, I know whether I want to work with you or not.
Yeah.
And a real leader does it by actions. Most times, even a leader's presence, you tell the difference. So he's not there trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
Trying to be visible, trying to wear white or pink or yellow or shopping green to show that, hey,
Here I am.
he comes up with the goods, So, for example, you tell the guy, well, look, we're going to be doing X, Y, Z. The guy turns up, the guy's got a plan already. He's got a plan of action. He's done his homework. You understand? He's so, and that is, but if you have to rely on a position or a title, you are not even aspiring to be a leader. You're a complete joker. And the reason why I said that is because the people who you're hoping to lead or trying to lead have already switched off from you. So the only joker in the room is you. And if you're trying to impress yourself and you have believed that you have impressed yourself because you're now called leader of the most reverend, highly, revered leader, general, come on, get over it. There are people who own businesses, and when I say businesses, extremely successful businesses. and you would go into a meeting and they would be sitting right there, and you'll think they're the secretary,
Mm.
right? Um, and the list goes on. So I 100% agree with when you say don't rely on your position or title, because if you are, that's not even a red flag, mate. That's bright red, shocking, hot red flag, burning. Okay. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, no, that's on point, sir. Because I think sometimes the disillusion is, or the illusion is that, like what you were saying, sometimes we think we're leading, but all we do is just taking a stroll in the park, and when you look back, nobody's following. It's like,
Sure.
because at the end of the day, if you can you look back, and if you can see behind you, is your family following? And I think that's actually the most important question that you and I have to ask ourselves. Forget about because people are kind of like this, isn't it? Today they're impressed with you and they say, "Oh, I would like to be influenced by this guy," but or tomorrow it's like, "No, whatever, I'm gone." But I think the real kind of measuring stick is, can you confidently say that my family is following me? That might sound like an entry level, but that's a good place to be, because even the Bible says that how can you lead for in the house of God, or how can you even lead out there if you can't lead your family, if you
Mm,
can't lead those? Because now remember, now the hardest, I believe that two there are two places that are very very challenging to lead, is to lead
mm,
yourself, man. If you if you try to lead yourself effectively, maybe you need to pay attention. It's a hard job to lead yourself, because it requires some serious discipline. And the second place is to lead your family. Why? Is because they know the real you. They know, man, you can't deceive them. They know exactly what makes you tick. They know exactly. Everybody keep quiet now. Daddy just walked into the house. It's like, everybody's on tippy toes, because they know exactly your mood. So which means, um, my leading myself and leading my family is a great measuring stick to find out whether I'm actually doing a great job, because all of that will just spill out, into whatever else it is that you are involved in. uh, because sometimes, I mean, no, let me rephrase that. Not sometimes, every time, every day, every minute, it will require you and I to die to ourselves, because that's what it means to be a servant leader. Because for me to lead, not as a big cheese, but rather to say, all right, I'm going to serve my kids, I'm going to serve my wife. um, so sometimes the body does not agree, the mind doesn't agree with that, because we want to step into the natural thing, which is to be selfish. um, that's why the next point that I want to bring up is, let's go to number 2 here, is believing people and their potential. For us to be servant leaders, for us to be able to serve people in the right way, we must have our attitude towards people should be, listen here, you got great potential. We should not see people as they are. We should not see people with their, um, with their shortcomings, with whatever imperfections, because all of us have that. All of us have our imperfections. But if you and I can put a 10 on each and every person, if you can put a 10, which means what will happen is they will live up to that 10. They will strive to maintain that,
mm,
because you are inspiring them. You are motivating them. um, and and sometimes we don't even pay attention to find out whether the way I'm treating people, am I talking down to them, or am I talking with that kind of a stance that, listen here, I know that you think you are nothing, but you got great potential. You can go places where you haven't been before. And I think if we have that kind of attitude um, towards those that we want to influence, we will be able to put people to higher ground. What are your guys' thought on that? What do you think?
I'm glad you said that, because you use two words together,
Mm,
and you if you assume the position of leader, you can never use those words. Big cheese. If you see yourself as anything big,
mm,
no, you're in the wrong place.
mm,
Um, uh, it could be a joke. It could be hilarious by you asking yourself, "Do I trust me to lead me?"
mm,
But it's a super serious question, and it can start with something very different. It's very simple. Sorry,
mm,
things like, "Can I trust my own word?"
mhm,
Yeah. Um, so, for example, if I tell myself I'm going to get up at 7 and clean my teeth,
mm,
is myself going to be happy with myself knowing that at 7 you've had a clean teeth? And now, this might sound really ridiculous and a very impractical example to use in the context where we're talking, but there's a reason I'm using that particular example, because what I really want to highlight here, with all seriousness, is if you find trouble trusting yourself, don't expect other people to trust you. If you find trouble
mm.
serving yourself, other people will have issues with that. So and you can't get too deep about it. You purely have to have a spirit or a a motive of serving,
Mm.
of wanting to contribute to something higher
Yeah,
than you, more important than you,
yeah,
right? And once you fall into that, it's automatic that you just want to see other people do well. You just want to see, and you've also got to be comfortable that other people may do better than you,
mm,
that you have taught.
mm,
You have to be super comfortable with that,
yeah,
because it's not about how high or how far they go. It's more of the fact that you have just impacted another life positively.
yeah,
Yeah. And that positive may mean that there could be a slight negative impact before there's a positive, meaning that when you're called to serve, it's not always a sweet tasting moment,
yeah,
because people are looking to you to be authentic. So when they ask you a question, they're looking for everything you have in you that they believe that you have in you to come out. So, for example, somebody might turn around and say to you, "So, Kendrick, um, I really want you to tell me honest truth, mate. What do you think about my posture?" And then Kendrick says, "You really want me to tell you?" "Well, that's why I asked you. You sure you want me to tell you?"
mm,
It's like, "Your posture is a bit rubbish, mate. Sorry for saying it." No, 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 no. He asks you, you're not trying to make this man rubbish. And you're not trying to talk him down.
mm,
Yeah. You have literally spotted something, because you're saying, okay, you might not use the words that I'm saying. You might say it differently, because the aim of what you're trying to do is actually pull out the best.
mm,
But you're highlighting the stuff very quickly that needs to get out the way, so you
yeah,
can focus on the great stuff in there.
yeah,
So when you begin to do that, what you're doing is actually um, making that person come to a point and a level within themselves where they're like, actually, yeah, I can do this. So they're not even focusing now on the minus points that you've mentioned,
mm,
because they know grab hold of the positives and they know, well, this is my focus.
Mm, mm,
You see what I mean?
mm,
So it's a passionate topic for me purely because I spend my time doing this sort of thing.
mm,
And then I love it when people just come back to me and tell. I usually ask people who know me well. I tell them. I said, okay, don't butter it up. Just tell me. It might be harsh. I might not talk to you for a week. Get used to that. But just tell me as it is, so I can because I want to grow.
mm, mm,
Right. The other thing too, it might be on one of your other points that you may come up with, but a leader does not get upset when somebody does not act on what he mentioned.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
And you stop talking to the guy because he's not doing what I tell him to do.
mm,
And he knows that I'm Mr. So, I'm the big cheese. No. A leader politely and calmly, with respect, shares his thing there. You see what I mean? He's excited for you. And then you will find that person checking in sometimes.
mm,
So, how are you getting on? Is there anything I can do to help you? They're
mm,
not doing that to gain good marks in your books. They're just being a natural leader.
mm.
Authenticity.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that seems to be coming around all the time. Whenever a topic comes up, is like, are you living out the real you?
Mm.
Authenticity, because that's key. Because imagine if you're living a fake life where every week we're wondering, okay, who's this now behind that mask? Is it which mask are you wearing this week, boy? Yeah, how shall we address you today? Yeah, well put, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Jordan. You wanted to add something on that?
Yes, I'll definitely add something small to it. That's exactly what I thought even last week in our previous session
Mm,
is authenticity, because it's something people can pick up.
yeah,
And we underestimate how intelligent people are in terms
yeah,
of our body language, the way we present ourselves.
mm,
Um, we watched several movies in the past where you have a lie detector uh, put on somebody to see whether they're telling the truth, if it's a detective film or you know,
yeah,
and normally the outcome is one or the other.
yeah,
But before they do the test, we sometimes don't know. We're hoping they telling the truth,
mm,
or we're hoping they not lying, or whichever way. But the thing is, we all get excited to see the body language, hear the questions, and we
mm,
make our judgment even before the results come.
yeah, yeah,
And that's a trait of us as humans, assessing others. And yes, when we work with people, I was interested in trying to find out how things changed in my organization where I worked before, because we restructured. And for the first time, we used to work in our own teams, right? And if we had work, we dished it out to our team members who we knew for many years. So you knew people pretty well. But for the first time, we got resource managers who are sitting elsewhere. They getting, and work is being outsourced. So they getting the teams that you work with, and you don't know people.
mm,
You haven't worked with maybe half of them for previously, um, but you have to look at their potential
mm.
in a different light.
That's right. That's right.
Uh, Drop your judgments and your perceptions, but for them, especially over a Zoom call, and if you haven't met them, authenticity can still be generated through the medium. Both what you say, your facial expressions, your confidence in asking questions, and your ability to allow people
Mm,
to ask you questions. So you become vulnerable. Tell people, if you got a question about this topic, we can catch up afterwards, or come see me, or drop me a line. And uh, then you get that reciprocation back, and people open up, and you get a far better situation of building trust and communication going forward. Um, and I found working on a personal level,
mm,
also getting to know people. I often ask people, "What are your hobbies?" And yeah, and that can spark a conversation of hearing from them, and you get a better relationship than just talking about work. So I think that believing in people and the potential as a state is really key, and how we react and behave in those situations.
That's right. That's right. I really like the part where you just mentioned about uh, you showing interest in the individual, because I think usually the challenge comes in when, when you kind of like trying to lead a team, but they only see themselves part as the team. It's like they feel maybe that you don't see them as an individual.
Mm.
And I think that's kind of like the best way to influence is to actually build a personal relationship with a person. Obviously, sometimes some people are more difficult to build their personal relationship. It's kind of like just cold, right? What do you want from me? Why are you coming to talk to me?
Yeah. That's where the hobbies come in,
Say again, sorry.
That's where the hobbies come in.
Absolutely, absolutely, because you have to meet them at common ground. Be able to talk about things that interest them, because then they say, "Oh, you actually asking me a question that does not involve work. It does not involve getting things done that benefits everybody, but you want to know how my wife is doing. You want to know how my kids are doing." And I think because sometimes it takes a little bit longer for certain people to open up. But I guess as a leader, you kind of like just have to have uh, just that consistency or to approach on a regular basis. Um, and just stay on it. And I think you can't treat everyone as a cookie cutter. It's not everyone, because people have different personalities. So you've got to understand the different personalities, because somebody would say, all right, just stay your distance. I don't come and love on me right now. I don't want to hug nobody. Just talk to me from a distance. Talk to me from a distance. And just understand what kind of a person it is, because sometimes the one way of doing or trying to connect with a person works well, but now you're going to try say, oh, that went down very well. Now you're going to try it with another with somebody else, and this guy just give you the cold shoulders, like, no, why are you so up and personal in my space? Just back up a little bit, that kind of thing. So, but I think that only comes with you and I understanding that people are actually different. And that requires a lot of effort from you and I as leaders. Okay. Now, the third thing that I want to bring up is see things from the perspective of others. I think this one is quite, it's, it causes you and me to eat humble pie. Sometimes we have to be at a place where that you are confident that your way of doing things will work better. It will produce maybe better results. It will produce. Things will be more productive. But that's from your perspective. But now the thing is, sometimes we just have to yield and see things from other people's perspective, because all of us don't see things in the same way. And I think that's the challenge, because it's one way to understand or you think you know why a leader do certain things in a certain way. But the best thing that you and I can do is understand the thinking behind the behavior, or the thinking behind the decision, or the thinking behind their specific action. If you and I can tap into that, we will have a better understanding um, why things will go, in a certain direction, if a leader takes it in that specific direction. But now, for you and I as leaders, we have to be at a place where we say, all right, let me just pull back. Let me sit where this guy is sitting. Let me stand in his shoes and see things from their perspective. And I believe we will get better cooperation when we do that. Well, that's my thinking on that. I don't know. You guys got any thought on that?
there's a type of listening where you allow somebody to act.
Mm.
Um, I know there's active and passive listening, but I'm trying to make up my own. But um, a leader needs to be a good listener. And I don't mean listen so you can just let the person speak,
Mm.
but you can listen and learn, because some people act out themselves via words.
Mm.
And so you can ask, like, or engage conversation similar to what uh, Andrew said. Um, but the thing is that you've got to, one of the ways I have found to be very effective is you begin to have questions, which are very, very few, that ignite a conversation. That conversation most times is one-sided,
Mm.
because it's you really asking questions and sort of prompting them to talk,
Mm.
them to say more, because what you're trying to find now is, as a leader, you're naturally looking for how you can help and where help is most needed.
Mm.
And if help is needed, and then if your help is needed,
Mm.
um, and the reason why I'm saying all of these things is because by you listening, and listening does not always necessarily mean talking. You
Mm.
can listen from anything. It could be actions, it could be interactions. So that person interacting with somebody else, because observing is a type of listening.
Mm.
Yeah. So it might sound as though I'm getting deep here, but all I'm trying to bring out from many different angles is the fact that you, as a leader, naturally usually consider things and a person from many angles based on the angles they are giving you and they're coming from.
Mm.
You see what I mean? So you might have a conversation that might be talking about hobbies, but within that conversation, you find that person has no patience. You might find that person have a very small fuse, because they're sharing experiences, they're sharing so many things, but out in that you see a personality coming out, you're seeing short fuse coming out, you're seeing the fact that they like to be listened to but don't like to listen to people. There's so many things you're gathering within that thing, and that
Mm.
might be less than a 5 minute conversation.
Mm.
And then what would be happening within that? Somebody may interrupt them to ask a simple question, and their response to that might be, quite frankly, off-putting or down-putting of that person.
Mm.
And then again, you've just observed something else. So if that person then um, acknowledges the fact that they would like your help, not by them just saying, I need your help to do this, depending on how they've come across,
Mm.
I think you end up in a position where um, you are now fully equipped.
Mm.
And it's quite funny, because they're thinking, I have not really told him anything about me. How does he know all of that?
Mm.
Well, it's the way how you were listening,
Mm.
um, which encompasses active, passive, observing, all these different angles. So 100% agree. Try to give some examples. I don't know if they resonate with anybody, but yeah.
No, oh, well said, sir. Well said. And it always comes down to that. And I think the key is to always try to take the attention off yourself.
Yes.
It's and just get to realize it's not about you. Um, I think that if you can reach that place where you can understand that we are building something together, whether it's you working together as an organization, it's like you are just having the privilege to lead at that specific time, because I do believe that everyone have that um, have the potential and have the opportunity, will get the opportunity to lead at any given time. That's why it's important to see things from other people's perspective. Mr. Jordan, sir, any input from your side?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think every person has their own life journey and direction
Hmm.
at any given point in time, which means you won't find people the same in the same frame of mind every time you speak to them or
Hmm.
see them.
Hmm.
But it's good to pay attention so that over time you can understand
Yeah.
um, how that person might react, and then you can adjust your ability
Hmm.
to look at the perspective that you have to transcend back to them.
Hmm.
So it is something that needs authenticity. You can't plan for this,
Hmm.
but if you didn't pay attention, you can't build up that capacity to
That's it. That's it.
input over time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Absolutely. I love that part, paying attention, because sometimes we don't pay attention. And what happens if you don't pay attention, you will end up paying somebody. There's the cost. The cost is always there.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I must share this. I tried something with my kids when they were amongst their friends.
here's a
Well, their cousins back home when I was on holiday. If I wanted, and they organized things with the cousins, and they just said, "Dad is the taxi driver." First day we landed, they organized this and that, and I've got a 7-seater, and I'm taking them everywhere. And
wow.
to get their attention, they were so focused on themselves. My PE teacher used to do this. He used to shout, "Attention, attention, I've got something to mention," right? And then
Okay.
everybody would stop what they're doing
Yeah.
and basically give him all the focus. Now, it sounds simple, but it sounded like a rhyme that he just says every time, but it
Yeah.
gets everybody's attention. He only says something, and everybody understood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's something we can take away, is to get people's attention.
Mm.
We can get better results.
Yeah.
Uh, but of course, we have to listen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, this conversation is so rich. It's a topic that you can never really you know, you can't just shut it down like that. It's like it always comes up. I think even a few months ago we spoke about. I think me and Cheeto even did a full series on some leadership some months ago. So it's not leadership is something that is always, it always comes to the front, because
Yeah.
the reason why the family will fall apart is because of a lack of proper leadership. A
Yeah.
reason why your organization will fall apart is because of lack of proper leadership. A country leadership, church leadership. That's
Yeah.
it. Um, Let me just touch on the final point here. Create an environment of encouragement. Um, I think this kind of like go hand in hand with potential. I'll tell you why my thinking is like that, because many times people don't really recognize the potential that they carry on the inside of them. But if you are a leader that always create an environment that allows people to draw what is on the inside of them, then the environment, they might think, oh, I'm just rubbish, I can't do this, man. I can't even speak to two people confidently. Now you want me to come and speak in front of 20 people, or you want me to come on here now and and speak to the men. But the thing is, when you create an environment that is safe, an environment that is encouraging, it's kind of like it gives somebody that confidence to, oh, I can actually do this. And I think that is really important, because if wherever there's encouragement, it will kind of like bring courage. to the person that is being encouraged, because boldness and courage is something that it doesn't always comes natural. It needs a certain kind of environment for you and I to step into it. So I think that should always be, especially when we look at, like for example, Mr. Jordan, like what you were saying, you've got already a team of what, 20 people that you are going to lead, or that you are going to work together with. Are you the one that's going to lead the team?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's right, sir. So, I mean, imagine if you can create that kind of environment where they know they can, they can give their honest opinion. They can be what's the word we used earlier? They can be authentic without thinking that, oh, what's what's Andrew going to? Andy's going to say, no, no, you just keep quiet. You can't talk now. No, but there's that environment where everybody just feel free, even though you know that your suggestion or or your idea is not the best. But listen here, we are brainstorming now. We're not saying who's the best, which idea is the best, or which one. It's like, let's just whatever's in your mind, just put it out. It's an encouraging environment, and that will cause growth. And as I said, that will cause boldness to come out, because, and that's what the thing is, people just want somebody to believe in them. If you can believe in somebody, you will see how a person will rise up, regardless of how they they kind of like feel they are not able. But as if they believe that, if they respect you, and they suddenly realize that, whoa, Kendrick actually believe that I can do this. Let me just try it. And then you will see how they will rise to the occasion. And that is because we create that environment of encouragement. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah.
As we draw to a
Yeah, I
close.
think, yeah, for me, I think what you said is significant, because we have to recognize that you might not, I guess, be the whole solution at that time. And when we've listened to the full magnitude of someone's brokenness or someone's discouragement, it's our duty to come up with an environment where we can say, yeah, I think I know what we can look into or get others to help with, so that you can go away and come back and get the proper help that you need. And that's often needed if you don't have all the answers. So the environment might not be ideal, the timing might not be ideal, but you create an environment of hope and optimism. And I think we also have to look at, when we serve others, we have to have faith. I guess that we are ultimately serving someone greater. And I think if God is the one who will bring the true change in that person's life or circumstances, whether it's at work or at home, it's our job just to love where they are at, but also not make an excuse and wait for someone else to step in and help. We have to take that responsibility. And if we don't have the answers, we can revisit that situation with finding further help afield, further afield, I guess.
Absolutely. Well said, sir. Well said. Anything from your side, Mr. Rishi?
I'm copying both of you.
Go
No,
on.
I agree with what you guys said. Trying to find a different way to put it, but you know what? No, I think you guys just said it perfectly. At the end of the day, like you said, Kendrick, it's not about you, the person, the leader. It's more about you're the person, and it naturally, it's about the contribution you're making to that person's life, the impact. And to be honest, as much as I said those words, when you're actually being a leader, you don't even have those words in your head. You're just naturally helping people. You're just naturally doing what you normally do. So it comes to you like if it's just part of you normally.
That's right.
One other thing, though, I must say that just came to mind is that it's good when you're a leader to give, but you've also got to be ready to be on the receiving end of the same thing
That's right.
because you need to grow as a leader. You need to evolve. And sometimes you walk into environments where there are people who have things deposited in them that you need. And as a leader, you need to be able to receive, encourage yourself to, because receiving does not necessarily mean you'll hear nice words or you've been doing well, because that's not growth.
Yeah.
Growth comes with a bit of pain and reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you learn now what you've been doing and how you've been doing, or actually there's have you heard about the new way of doing this? Actually, it's just not, it's more of a hybrid way, but this person who did this research did this, da 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 da. But what the person's trying to say is that actually your way is just sort of like outdated and rubbish. So you need to learn some new stuff.
Yeah.
And rather than actually getting upset with the person and thinking that who you think he is or she is, they know who I am. No, it's more of like, oh man, wow, okay. So how do I learn? Where do I read? What do I do? That sort of thing. So yeah, I like it. Heart of leadership. Once you have the heart of leadership, that's different to just aspiring to be a leader or being a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's right.
You just got it spot on there, Clinton. I was thinking the same thing when you mentioned it about being able for others to serve you as well, and I think you need to allow that. I think it's called something like model for mutual influence.
Yes.
Where you also become vulnerable and allow others to serve you, obviously for the right reasons.
Yes.
But that's really good. Really love that.
Awesome.
Before we go, there's one word that you mentioned. In being authentic, you have to become vulnerable. And you have to allow yourself to become vulnerable. A lot of us are scared of that. But great leadership, which is a whole nother level, great leadership, I believe, is born out of you continuously being vulnerable, because it means that you are now able to truly receive and act on that and grow as a person.
That's right. That's right. Wow, man. Shall we go for another hour? Say, no, Kelly, you want us to get in trouble with our wifey? And no, don't do that. Well, gentlemen, what an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. And it basically just comes down to we are here to serve people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. We are here to serve, and obviously sometimes some people are a little bit like what you're saying. It's harder to serve some people sometimes. Because they're a little bit harder to it comes to on the receiving side. But nevertheless, we are there to serve and to give of ourselves, and whether they receive it or not, it's you've just played your part to say, all right, I'm available. This is what God has gifted me with. This is the talents I have. This is the tools I have available to serve you. And I think on the flip side of that is for you and I to be able to serve somebody effectively is like you got to know what will really make a difference to their life. It's almost like giving somebody a present, but you don't really know what they like. You go and buy them a book on cooking. I think this guy always talks about food. Maybe he's a good cook. Let me just go and buy him a book on cooking for his birthday. No. The bra wants he likes racing cars. So why didn't you just why? Because you haven't taken the time to have that conversation. So it's important for us to be able to really serve people effectively. It's like you gotta know you gotta know who it is that you're dealing with in terms of what they like. So, gentlemen,
before we go, I think I saw this joke, this interview with I think it's Steve Harvey or some other guy.
Okay.
With this little boy. So the guy looks quite chubby, and quite full in face, and saying, "You like this food?" He said, "Oh, I love it." And he said, "Oh man, so you know how to cook?" He's like, "No, I don't know how to cook. I eat." Mommy cooks.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
Don't mistake there's the eater and there's the cooker. Like I identify I'm the eater. I don't know who's the cooker, but yeah. But
Oh,
gentlemen, thank you so
right.
much for your time.
Okay.
Have an amazing week, and we will link up soon. See you soon.
All right.
All right.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers.